Hello. In this session we will be discussing about the module 3. Module 3 is energy systems. Under energy systems in this session we will be discussing about the introduction and classification and definitions of the gross and net calorific values, and we discuss about the chemical fuels. In this chapter we discuss about the chemical fuels, fuel cells, and also the solar energy. So let us start with the chemical fuel. What is a chemical fuel? See, why are we discussing about the fuels in this chapter, particularly about the chemical fuels and the fuels which are synthesized in a laboratory, that is artificial fuels and all? That is because from day to day the demand for fuels are increasing. That is because of the because of the anthropogenic sources. Man he want to be very comfortable. So with the increasing in the population, we are using many number of vehicles. When we use many number of vehicles, automatically the demand for the fossil fuels will be increased. Okay, so if we using the same way as we are using as of today, after maybe after one decade there will not be any fossil fuels present. We have to depend on some other sources. So we need to control the usage of the these chemical fuels, and also there should be different types of the fuel generation, like synthetic fuels generation should be improved, so that we can at least cover some demand of the fuels. So what is a chemical fuel means? Chemical fuels are they are the substances which contain carbon and hydrogen as its main constituents, and they produce large amount of heat and light energies when they are burnt with in excess of air or oxygen. For example, see carbon is there. In carbon and hydrogen, when they are burning in presence of air or oxygen, it will be giving rise to carbon dioxide and water with the energy. Okay, generally telling, the examples for fuels are wood, coal, charcoal, petrol, diesel, kerosene. All these comes under the fossil fuels. So the fuel is a carbonaceous substance, that means which contain carbon and hydrogen as its main constituents, and when we burn with the excess air or oxygen, it will be giving out a large amount of heat and light energies. Next is a classification of these fuels. The fuels are mainly classified into two types. Okay, based on the physical state, now they are further classified into solids, liquids, and gaseous fuels. Okay, basically solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels are there. Okay, for example, solid fuels. Which are all the solid fuels means wood, coal, charcoal, peat, ignite, bituminous, etc. are the solid fuels. Under liquid fuels, you can say all the products of the petroleum, that is petrol, diesel, kerosene, and other petroleum fractions. And coming to the gaseous fuels, CNG, LPG, biogas, etc. Okay, these are all about the based on the occurrence solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels. Further, no, they are classified as primary and secondary fuels. This is based on the occurrence. There are two types of the fuels, which are primary fuels and secondary fuels. What are these primary and secondary fuels? Primary fuels are the fuels which are occurring from nature directly. Okay, they are known as primary fuels. For example, wood is occurring directly from nature. Okay, wood, crude petroleum oil, okay, natural gas. Okay, and what about the secondary fuels? Secondary fuels are the fuels which are processed from the primary fuels. Okay, primary fuels are the one which are occurring directly from the nature. Then which are all the secondary fuels means they are processed from the primary fuels. Some small treatment might be given to convert the primary into secondary fuels. For example, crude petroleum oil is available. Crude petroleum oil, liquid fuel. Okay, we cannot say that we are using crude petroleum oil in vehicles, right? Okay, fractional distillation is done. When fractional distillation is done, what will happen? Depending on the boiling points, different petroleum fractions will be separated, right? Which are all the petroleum fractions? Petrol, kerosene, diesel, they will get separated, no? Okay, so these are all called as a secondary fuels. Okay, primary liquid fuel is a crude petroleum oil. When the crude petroleum oil is processed, some small chemical treatment is given. What is the processing name? Fractional distillation. When we do the fractional distillation, different products are obtained. I think it is clear now. Okay, so primary fuels are the one which are occurring directly from the nature, and the secondary fuels are the fuels which are processed from the primary fuels. Okay, so secondary fuels examples are charcoal, okay, petrol, diesel, kerosene, CNG, LPG. They all comes under secondary fuels. When we put in a tabular form, it will be like this. Fuels are solid, liquid, and gaseous type. Okay, example for each of them, primary, and the one which are processed from the primary fuels are the secondary. See, for solid, wood is the example, primary fuel. Secondary is coal and charcoal. Fine. And for liquid, crude petroleum oil, primary. and secondary is the petrol, diesel, kerosene, and gaseous natural gas. From natural gas, what is converted? CNG, LPG, etc. Next is calorific value. Here, no, the fuel, no, fuel will have, like, they should have some of the characteristics, okay, which are all should be the characteristics of the fuels. They should not, they should not produce more amount of ash content. If it is producing more ash content, what will happen? The efficiency of the fuel will be reduced, okay, and it should not demand large space for transportation, okay, and it should be easily available, okay, it is not possible, of course, okay, it should be easily available, okay, and mainly the fuel should have a higher calorific value, okay. What is this calorific value? The performance of the fuel can be measured by using calorific value. It's very simple. Like we are we want to know the calorific value of a 10 grams of a fuel. What should we do? We are burning that 10 grams of fuel, and we should measure what is the efficiency given by it. What is the amount of heat given by it? Okay, that's called as a calorific value. So the calorific value is a amount of heat liberated when unit mass of the fuel, unit mass, known quantity, okay, 100 grams of the fuel we are burning, 200 grams of fuel, 200 grams, we know the weight of the fuel taken, okay. So when we burn a known amount of the fuel, what is the amount of the heat liberated? That is called as a calorific value, okay. By calorific value, we can measure the performance of the fuel, and a good fuel should have always a good, very high calorific values, okay. The performance of the fuel is measured by its calorific value. Calorific value is defined as the amount of heat liberated when unit amount of or unit mass of the fuel is completely burnt in excess of air or oxygen. We know very well the combustion will be taking place in presence of air or oxygen only, right? Okay, and there are two types of calorific value. Which are they? The first one is a gross calorific value, and the second one is a net calorific value, okay, which are referred as GCV and NCV. Okay, let us see what is this GCV. GCV is a gross calorific value. It is the amount of heat liberated when an unit quantity of the fuel is burnt completely in excess of air or oxygen, and the products of combustion are cooled to room temperature, okay. And what is net calorific value? It is defined as the amount of heat liberated when an unit mass of the fuel is burnt completely in excess of air or oxygen, and the products of combustion are let out to the atmosphere. What do you mean by here? See, only a small difference is there. That is between GCV and NCV. The products of the combustion are cooled to room temperature in GCV, and the products of combustion are let off to the atmosphere. What do you mean by this? Like you can assume like we are heating in a closed system. What happens that the products of the combustion, that is a steam is there, that will be condensed back to the water. When it is condensed back, it will be giving some small amount of energy, okay. That is called as latent heat of steam, okay. That is present in case of GCV, and in the case of NCV it is not there, okay, because we are heating in a open vessel, okay. Open vessel means what happened to the all the steam formed, it is expelling out to the atmosphere, okay. Best example I can give you to remember easily. For example, you assume that we are cooking in cooker, okay, pressure cooker. So what happens? Pressure cooker is made in such a way, see, we will be waiting for 3 to 4 vessels, right? Afterwards, what do? We are just allowing it to cool by itself. We are not opening immediately, right? We can of course open immediately by putting some water or something like that. I am not telling that ways and all. Okay, we have to give some time for the pressure cooker to get it cooled by itself, right? So in that time, what will happen? Whatever the steam is there inside the pressure cooker, that will be converted back to water. When the steam is converted back to water, it will give some small amount of energy. That is called as latent heat of steam, okay. The pressure cooker is synthesized in such a way that after it gives the latent heat of steam only, it will be cooked properly. We can check it out by putting water after the 3 vessels. We can immediately open the pressure cooker, but we can feel the difference when we allow it to cool by itself, okay. We can see how it is cooked, okay. And if we open immediately, okay, we can find out easily the difference, okay. I think you have got it. This is the best example for the gross calorific value, okay. You should not supposed to write only for understanding. This is only for your understanding, okay. So in closed vessel like pressure cookers, the steam is converted into water, that gives some small amount of energy, that is called as latent heat of steam. So, okay, that is there in gross calorific value. So always the gross calorific value will be higher. Okay, it is the amount of heat liberated when unit quantity of the fuel is burnt in excess of air or oxygen and the products of combustion are cooled to room temperature. So here the steam is converted into water. When it is converted into water, it will give some small amount of energy, that is called as latent heat of steam. Okay, and coming to the net calorific value is the amount of heat liberated and the products of combustion are let off to the atmosphere. You assume in a open tawa we are heating something. When I say open tawa, open vessel, what happens here? Whatever the steam is produced, that is directly expelling into the atmosphere. So here the latent heat of steam will not be added here. Understood? It is very easy. Okay, we are heating something in an open vessel. Whatever the steam form, it is expelling to the atmosphere. So it can be defined as a amount of heat liberated when an unit mass of the fuel is burned in excess of air or oxygen and the products of combustion are let off to the atmosphere. Okay, so here the latent heat of steam is not added. So the NCV will be always lesser compared to the gross calorific value. Fine. And then the calorific value is expressed in a calories per gram in CGS units and it is expressed as a kilojoules per kg in a SI units for solid and liquid fuels, and for gaseous fuels it is measured as a joules per cubic meter. Okay, fine friends. In the next session we will be discussing about the determination of a calorific value by using a bomb calorimeter. Thank you.